Hello and welcome here to Talk SCB and welcome back to the channel here today. And what we're going to be doing actually today is something a little bit different, because I've seen a lot of comments and I've had a few people on here talking to me about it, and I understand the frustration, to be honest, about the Champions League. Now, of course, we're out of the Champions League. We got knocked out by Atletico Madrid, who I'm actually quite pleased they made the final. I mean, I know a lot of people were rooting for Bayern because of Pep, and I can understand that. Of course, I want to see Pep successful, but at the same time, I would feel a lot better if we went out to the eventual winners. It would make us look better as a team. And also, I think Atletico Madrid deserve credit for what they do. I think they're very, very hardworking. I know some people don't like their style. I can understand that as well. But at the same time, you've got to admire the way they defend. You've got to admire the skill they do have in defending, and that is a skill in itself. It's not for everyone, I can understand that, but personally I am quite pleased that they are in the final, and I'm also quite pleased they're in the final because I think they have the best chance of beating Real Madrid. I don't know why people are under the impression that Atletico Madrid in the final is good news for Real Madrid. Yes, in 2014 Real Madrid did beat Atletico Madrid in the Champions League final, but they were just seconds away, Atleti, from winning it. And I think this time round they've had many successes in the league since then against Real Madrid, including this season at the Bernabeu. They're going to win it. I really do believe that Atletico Madrid, this is their year. Diego Simeone would have learned from those mistakes. I think his team now is stronger, better, more experienced, and they've got the best chance going into that final of really, really winning it. But that wasn't really what this video was about. This video basically was about the Champions League in general and the luck involved in Champions League football. Now, I've had a lot of people talk to me about Real Madrid's route to the final, which is suspect, and I'm not saying it's corruption. I don't really believe in those conspiracy stories. I think everything is carried out as normal. You get your luck of the draw. I think the difference is that Real Madrid usually get the luck more than most. I think that's fair to say. I don't think they deny that. I don't think any of their fans deny that this season they have got a lucky draw on the way to the final. They've had a good draw, but at the same time, if that draw happens to you, you're going to take it, aren't you? You're not going to turn your nose up at it. They've won their games. They've beaten what's in front of them, and if they beat Atletico Madrid in the final, they've beaten a very, very good team and won the trophy. I personally don't think they will, but if they do that, they've beaten a very, very good team in the final. But on their way to the final, they've played Roma, who are currently third in the Serie A, and they are about 14 points away from Juventus, so they're quite far back. And we also beat them 6-0 in the group stage at the Camp Nou. I was actually at that game, and Roma were an absolute disaster, so that was interesting. Then they got an even easier draw in the next round against Wolfsburg and even lost the first leg of that one. It was then treated like an incredible result when they turned it around. When you actually look at the Bundesliga table, Wolfsburg are actually closer to going down into the second division in German football than to winning the league. They're actually 43 points away from Bayern Munich, and they're actually less than 10 points away from being relegated. So I think that puts that into a bit of perspective. And even Manchester City last night, they're supposedly this super club, but for me, I don't see it. They're fourth in the Premier League in a season where the likes of Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool haven't been at their best, and they're fourth in that league. They're again 13 points off the top of the league. So it's certainly been a very, very favourable draw for Real Madrid this season. Like I said, I don't think they really deny that. And like I also said, the luck can happen. But it's not about Real Madrid. I've not come on here to rant about Real Madrid and how I'm, jealous of them reaching the final. We reached the final last season. I think we absolutely fantastic season in the Champions League. We beat every single league winner. We won the trophy, and everybody really applauded us for that, because I think it was an incredible achievement what we did last season. And this season we went out to a very, very good side in Atletico Madrid, so I've got no problem there either. But I just wanted to say about the Champions League, this isn't a one-off. It really isn't a one-off for teams. I think the Champions League is about luck, and it has been now since its inception, because I think when you go into the Champions League, the first thing that happens to you is you're put in a group. And that group can be consisted of any teams, and it all depended on coefficients until next season. What happened was you get put into a group depending on how they'd ranked in Europe in the last 5 seasons. You'd then get ranked in that group. Next season, however, everything changes. From next season onwards, the league position of the season following it will determine which group you go into. So, for example, Leicester City, who've just won the Premier League, cannot draw the likes of Juventus, who've won the Serie A. They cannot draw PSG. They cannot draw Barcelona if we win the league. They cannot draw Bayern Munich. Because they've won that league, they go into pot 1 in the Champions League draw. So beginning next season, things could get very, very interesting, because, of course, Real Madrid at the moment are third in La Liga. Next season, of course, if it stays that way, they could well be going to pot 2 or 3 and get put in quite a difficult draw. So it's going to be very, very, very interested next season because the groups are decided upon league position and not the coefficients like they have been for many, many years up till now. And I think the Champions League in general is everything depends on luck and everything depends on timing. I think that's really important as well, because I think last season, particularly for Bayern Munich and Pep, timing was a massive, massive issue. They played us at a time when they had key injuries. They weren't really in their best form of the season. They'd never really picked up their form because they'd won the Bundesliga. Their intensity had dropped, and it came at a really bad time for them. And the same happened for us when we played them a few years before that, when you remember the infamous 7-0. We had key injuries. We, of course, had problems with our coach, with illness, which is very, very sad for the whole squad. And I think this general gist of the Champions League is you depend on a bit of luck, you depend on the timing of the matches, and I think that's really, really important, because I think even this season for us, if you look at it, going into the games that we had, we dipped a little bit, and at the time the games came, we didn't really want them at that time. That wasn't the best time for us to be playing Champions League matches. We were tired, we were fatigued, our confidence was a bit low, we were a little bit lethargic, and I think Atletico Madrid took full advantage of that, and credit to them. But I'm just saying that Champions League doesn't always reflect the best team in the world, and that is why I will always maintain that winning a league title, and I said this last season, I'm not just saying this now because we've been knocked out of the Champions League, I've said this for the entire time I've been watching football. Winning a league title, certainly in divisions like the Spanish League or the English League, even the Italian League, that's quite a bit competitive this season, although Juve are running away with it a bit now. Winning a league title for me is more of an accomplishment than winning the Champions League. I think the Champions League has more of a prestige. When you win the Champions League, you do it much less often, of course, so when you do win it, it does feel like an incredible achievement, and it is. But I think winning a league title, when you look at it from this sort of perspective, is a better achievement, because it's over 38 matches. That's a long time. It's over a period of an entire season, and over that time, 9 times out of 10, nearly every single time, the best team in that league throughout the season will win it. For the Champions League, I'm not really sure you can say that. The best team doesn't always win the Champions League. The best team who plays the best football doesn't always win. You get lucky draws, you get bad decisions from referees, you get difficult timings of the games, and all of that contributes to a tournament which actually makes it brilliant. It makes it brilliant because it is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. That is, again, the reason why nobody has ever retained this trophy, because it's so difficult. You never know what sort of teams you're going to be coming up against. You don't know how you're going to be feeling going into these games, and I just feel like the Champions League, this is no surprise to us. If Real Madrid win the Champions League this season, they're not the best team in Europe. Because they win it, it doesn't mean they're the best team in Europe. They're clearly not. They're still not at the level they should be. Any Real Madrid fan would admit that their team still has a lot of work to be done. I think if Atletico Madrid win it, they'll certainly be staking their claim, because they could nearly be league champions as well. But I think Real Madrid is still a bit off the pace. I think Bayern Munich were certainly very, very good on the night against Atletico Madrid and could have easily won that game. I think if we'd have been given the draw that Real Madrid has been given, we would find ourselves in the final as well. So it doesn't always measure the best team in Europe. The Champions League is not always something you can rely on to give you the most consistent results and always the best team comes out on top. It doesn't really work like that, and I don't really see why it's a surprise to people now that Real Madrid have reached the final. They've got a nice draw. It's not that much of a surprise to me, because the Champions League can do this to you. That's why I remain that if we can win the league this season, if we can win the Copa del Rey, do the domestic double, that would be a fantastic achievement for us, and that would cap a really, really good season. I don't know why people feel like not doing the treble is always a disappointment. Those are extremely high standards, and they're going to be very, very difficult to maintain every single season. If we can win the league, if we can win the cup, we've had a great season. We're going to improve our squad in the summer, and for me that would be a massive, massive success. And again, the squad and the manager deserve great credit for that. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. I'm very, very interested to hear your views on this. Like I said, this wasn't really a video to just come on here and have a go at Real Madrid for having an easy draw. That wasn't it at all. I'm basically just saying this is what the Champions League now has been for many, many seasons. Sometimes the best teams will win it. Sometimes the best teams will get difficult draws, come through it, and be crowned champions. That happened to us last season. But sometimes it doesn't really work out that way, and that's just the luck of the draw. It's cup football. That's what happens. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. I'm really, really interested to hear what you guys have got to say on this subject, because I've had a lot of interesting comments, and I've seen a lot on social media about this as well. So I've got no doubt that you guys have certainly got something to say. So I'm very interested interested to hear that down below. And as always, guys, really good to be making a video here today. I've released the preview for the Espanyol game quite early, so if you haven't seen that already, that is on the channel. Go and check that out. Really glad with how the channel's going at the moment. Glad you all like the new visuals. I will see you very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Vesca El Barça!